Well, hey friends, welcome back to the cabin. I actually just got back from my neighbor's house sharpening my tools. We actually didn't put this on the stone. Now, I've had these for 3 years and I've done all the work up here at the Outpost with these without having to sharpen them. So I took them up there. What we did is we put them on the buffing wheel, but I'll tell you, they ended up very, very, very sharp. So I think that they're good for, maybe another couple, 3 years. We'll see. Had him sharpen these two small ones because I got to where I really like using them, especially, digging down into the mortises. And I actually glued this one right here. I'm going to let it set up. This collar wanted to slip off, so I'm not sure if it's going to set up. If it doesn't, what I'll end up doing is drilling a hole and we'll put a pin in there. But these right here, I actually did the top. You can see right there where I drilled a little bitty hole and put it in there because they wanted to pop off. So I'm also going to soak this handle right here, so that should help. But anyway, like I was saying, I have used these on that cabin up there, on the outdoor kitchen, on the outhouse, and now these down here, all these beams and posts, and I've done quite a bit of woodwork to not have to redo these. Now, he told me that these right here will get a lot duller a lot quicker because when he actually made these, he made these out of spring steel, so it's a lot harder. It would take a lot more, to dull this end right here. But even when I took them up there, he said, well, they're still pretty sharp, but they need to be sharp enough, where I can just kind of push them and just peel it like cutting through a piece of paper, right? So anyway, yeah, I've got all the posts on this side done. I've got to cut out a couple more 6 by 10 beams for the second floor. So I've got 2 more of those that I'm going to have to cut. And then I've got 3 tie beams to go between the 2 walls. And then I've got a ridge beam that I'm going to have to work on. I tried getting a hold of some more logs that were had been fell about a year ago, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them, so I may have to work some up green. Now, I have used a lot of green wood here, so it's not anything new. Even with the early pioneers, it wasn't anything new for them to take and build their houses with green wood. I would prefer to have it a little bit drier. It seems like you can dig the mortises out and everything, and then they're not nearly as heavy, to set. But it is what it is, and you use what you have, right? So we may end up having to go to Milo's, which is on the back 40 there, and see if we can cut. I need 4 16-foot posts. So anyway, but we'll get it one way or the other. Once I get this done, then I'll have a place to park the tractor. Then the next thing I'm going to do is start on the basically a wood shop or a workshop where I'm actually standing right here. So I'll have to pour 3 more columns, and then we'll start working on this section, of course, once I get the walls up over here and the roof on. But that will be the next project over here. Then I'm thinking, once I get over to where the sawmill is going to go, now when I was laying this out, what I did was I set a 4x4. I laid it down so it's 4 inches off the ground over on that far corner over there. The difference between that corner and this corner over here is about 30 inches. Okay, I had a comment where somebody said, well, how tall is your sawmill going to be? 4 feet when you get over there? Well, see, they don't know the whole story. So no, it's going to be 4 inches, not 4 feet. But that will be the height of the clearance from the ground to the bottom of my beams over there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a cement slab, and then I have to embed some wood in there, give me something to put my feet on and actually screw them down so that the sawmill doesn't move. That will be the most major thing, is getting the floor the height that I want it, also with that concrete slab over there. But it's all working out. It's just slow when you're doing something timber frame style because of digging out all the mortises. And you know, I've even had some comments where people would say, you know, well, why don't you, you know, you can get a tool that will do that. And I know that, but all of them are at least $1,000 or more, and I'm just not willing to part with that money. I can use this chisel with a little elbow grease all day long and save that $1,000 for something else. So we still need to put power in here. We still need to get water. You know, those are major purchases right there, because you're talking thousands of dollars for each one of them. So anyway, but yeah, that's what takes the time, is digging out all the mortises, laying it out, building up your tenons and so forth. Another problem that I've got that I ran into is this right here. This mallet that I made, actually, it had split, but it didn't go through. But I hit it earlier and it went all the way through. So you can tell with just a little bit of use since I've made this that I've really applied lots of pressure on this thing when I've been hitting. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to try something else this time. I've got some wood that I think I can cut a block out of. We'll drill a hole, we'll put a handle in it that way, and we will see if that changes anything. But I'm going to have to make a new mallet. The round one that I made actually lasted a long time. This is more square, looks more like a mallet, but I may, or it looks more like a hammer, but I may end up making another one that's round. We'll just have to see. But yeah, I'm going to have to make another one before I continue to do any more work down here on these beams. Well guys, we got all of the hog worked up, as you will see in the video tomorrow. And I spent pretty much a week down here working that pig up, rendering lard and smoking the bacon and the ham and different things like that. So but yeah, it's all done, except I still have 2 small bags of specialty type fat up there that I need to render from, and I've got some small pint jars. But I actually came out with 26 quarts, okay, of just regular lard from the fat back and stuff that I can use, you know, not only to cook with, but you know, oil for my gloves and my boots and things like that to kind of help waterproof them. But yeah, I mean, this was the very setup right here, and that wash pot right there came in really handy. It rendered, you know, a bunch of lard at one time. This little tripod setup that I've got right here, that worked really well to hold that. It's some of that bamboo that I got earlier this year. These little benches came in handy where I could kind of sit here and watch things, you know. Of course, I was doing a lot of running back and forth too, but yeah, this was the very setup that I needed to be able to work that up. So with all of the meat that we've got that we processed and all of the little extras, that was a very valuable asset to have to the homestead, was that hog. So the butcher even asked me, he said, do you have another one, because I can sell it. He said pork is going out of sight. So we figure that probably, you know, even though we had quite a bit of money invested in it in feed, you know, additional feeds besides the scraps and day-old bread and stuff like that that we bought, she actually ended up 320 pounds hanging weight, which that means that put her probably in the neighborhood between 500 and 600 pounds. Now, it's hard to believe that I actually picked her up, because she was probably the size of Smokey when I got her. I think it was, what, February or March, and we lifted her over in there, but the tractor lifted her out because there was no way, with all the weight that she put on, to be able to pull her out of there. But yeah, I mean, it was a very great asset, the investment in that pig. for all the different needs, you know, not only the food, but the fat and things like that we got from her. So money very well spent. You know, another thing that I'm going to have to stop and invest some time in is a shave horse, because a lot of this white oak, now this is a piece of hickory, but a lot of the white oak wood has been split like this, and that fro I can actually take and I might be able to just, like for example, say this one, split it in half and then just start chopping sections, and then that shave horse I can actually whittle down the pins that I'm going to use, the wooden pins on that timber frame workshop down there. So that's something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. I just didn't take the time to do it, was to make a shave horse. But I think I'm going to have to stop and do that so that I'll be able to make up, because there's going to be a lot of wooden pins down there. Now this is Wednesday evening, and I had planned on coming down and doing some work down here, burning some beams, putting some oil, treating them with some oil, but this propane tank cost me about a half a day. For some odd reason, when I screw the end of this hose in here, I couldn't get anything out on the other end. So I went into town to try to swap the tank out, but come to find out, the vending machine only gave me an empty tank. So I actually went to the gas company. He told me that for some odd reason they're having the same trouble on a lot of tanks. He said that he thinks that cheaper parts being made in other places, they're maybe not as quality. And he said what's happening is inside the tank that this line is not going in far enough to push on the needle, kind of like a needle valve on the inside, to allow the gas to pass through there. So he told me to rub some Vaseline on the inside. He said it won't hurt the gas in, and he said you might be able to get that screw fitting up in there a little bit high, a little bit closer and tighter. So I came back home. The first time I put it in there, didn't do anything. Second time I put it in there, I was able to get some fuel out. So hopefully, now this is actually brand new. The other one that I had a much stiffer hose on it, and it kind of got loose right in here where it would start to leak a little bit, because you could smell the propane. So I decided, you know, that's unsafe. So I went and got this new one. Now these are like 70 bucks. This wand here is actually longer than the other one I had, and this is the one that I like. But the strange thing about this one is you have to depress this in order to light it. Okay, my other one, just by turning this valve a little bit, I could actually light it, and then this right here would actually feed it more fuel, but this one works backwards. So anyway, but you know, still the longer wand, I like that because I don't have to bend over as much and not get as close to the flame actually. It's late in the evening, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the video short here, but I did want to give you a little bit of an update on what's going on up here, not only on the workshop, but some other ideas that I've got that I'm going to have to do that will go along with the workshop, like the shave horse and things like that. So be sure and stay tuned for the video tomorrow, because pretty much all the video is me working up that pig and then running over and trying to do a little bit of work on the timber frame. But I did everything from processing the bacon, the ham, the lard, and everything, so I'm sure that you will enjoy it. So anyway, we hope that you have a great afternoon. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.